what has been your favorite part of this teaching series besides the Christmas lights, the worship songs, the Christmas songs during worship?
So,
This is their left.
so I'll start this one off. For me, I had kind of a, for lack of a better word, a revelation. I don't know. Something finally clicked for me, and that was we're always taught that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. But I've always been kind of confused about that because I was like, well, the God of the Old Testament sure seems like this judgmental, fiery, angry guy. And there's all these superheroes like David running around. And then we get to the New Testament, and Jesus is all about like love and peace. And I've always been like, well, wait a minute, how? I never had a way to reconcile that in my brain. I was like, that doesn't make sense. And during my message about, I don't remember which one I was studying. I think it was the one about baptism. I realized that, it was about baptism, because I realized that the message that John was bringing, which was an Old Testament message, is the exact same message that Jesus brought. And that was that there was salvation that was going to be completed. The only thing that changed was the perspective on they had faith in a coming Messiah versus we have faith in a Messiah who came. But other than that, the salvation for the Jews, it wasn't through these rules and sacrifices and everything that we've been taught. That was the outward expression of their faith. But really what it was a faith in a Messiah who comes and brings about salvation through repentance, which was John's message that he was giving at baptism there. So that was a really cool moment for me because things just kind of clicked. And maybe everybody else already got it, but I don't know. I thought it was fun.
I really enjoyed I remember that. I enjoyed your explanation and your sharing and understanding of that.
One of my favorite parts was when Justin was going through the genealogy, just because I had skipped over that so many times and I didn't want to do the research on my own, so it was really nice to have somebody else do it. And I really liked how you just got to see how there was good people and bad people in Jesus's family tree. That it wasn't just this, holy line of, the best tree in the world that had its horrible places. And it was really good, and he did a good job explaining all the hard words. Or not explaining the hard words, but saying the hard names. And then for me personally, when Jesus was 12, back to that sermon that I was preaching on, and his parents come up and they say, "Where have you been? We're looking for you for 3 days." And he says, "What are you talking about? I have to be here. I have to be about my Father's business." And when I was studying that, I just got overwhelmed with how, with one sentence, a 12-year-old could sum up everything about his life and everything about our lives, and how the Bible could, like Jesus said, I believe that Jesus said that and it got recorded in the Bible, and how in this one sentence it could do so much, that he could have his calling being the same thing for us, being about our Father's business, and knowing God as a Father, your identity in Christ, and just how, just what a miracle that sentence was at that time when I read it, of just being this kind of all-encompassing, amazing thing that just popped out of the Bible. And I just got really overwhelmed by that, overwhelmed that a 12-year-old could say that, and that it was Jesus at this right time. I can't even explain it very well, that's how overwhelming it was, but that was probably my favorite part.
The genealogy is one of my favorite parts too, actually. But when I was studying, I think I only preached one time this series, right? Yeah. Studying these two people who had lived a long life for Jesus, God hit me really hard on the value of the older people in our churches and that have relationships with Jesus, and this what it takes to have a long life. Because I don't know that I have the most endurance on things. I'm pretty easy to give up, and at the same time, I'm also really arrogant sometimes towards older generations. So there's these two things there that God convicted me on, and I'm blessed by that. And I was blessed to see so much value and then personally firsthand experience with an older generation really blessing me and being there to serve and pray for me and just support me, and then to see how much knowledge and wisdom that they had gained after these so many years of following after Jesus, to break down some of my arrogance and then to give me a better appreciation for that. And so that's mine.
Really quickly, I was there, and I remember of the services that you did. The first service, most of them were older people, and I thought it was really great because you shared some of that during the service, and it seemed like over the course of the 3 services, that first one felt like the response and their attitudes toward the message and just their heart in general was kind of like backing up what you had learned and what the Lord had showed you, and I thought that was really cool.
For me, it was kind of a sort of a humbling experience where it got back into this mode of thinking about Jesus' life and all of the different miraculous things that happened just in the first 3 chapters of Luke, and then knowing what's coming up in the rest of Luke, where Jesus is healing people and people are raising the dead, and he's calling religious people out on their sin. And I mean, Jesus was a mover and a shaker and a bold, courageous guy in the face of all odds, and it kind of has been convicting me about what a coward I am as a Christian, how much I don't trust that the Lord is real and that He's on our side and that He is calling us to do things, whether it's praying for people that are sick or trusting the Lord in hard times or calling religious people out on their sin. And so it's been just been a realization that I'm a pretty big coward as a Christian, and wanting to have more courage in my relationship with the Lord as I live it out with other people.
Isn't it great, though, even though sometimes it can be discouraging to focus on the things that the Lord points out, but that it's great that He takes the time to help us see those things and really learn from them and be like, okay, I'm beginning to understand and be able to grasp something in my